Before I start this video, I want to make you guys aware of some visual changes to my video style. If you've seen my first two videos, you'd know that I pretty much use clips of me doing things in the game I'm talking about. For videos on Siege, I'm going to change the way I use the clips, where I'll instead use large amounts of rounds as background footage. This really isn't a big deal since I don't have great gameplay that people are going to come rushing for, rather it's my commentary that's the main selling point, or at least I hope it is. Hopefully you guys enjoy the change, just let me know and I'll switch to the shorter clips that I did beforehand. I just wanted to try this out since it makes it a little easier to fill the spaces of the video over filling it with 15-second clips. In addition to that, I just wanted to give a bit of a disclaimer. This is a part 2 to the first video on my channel, which if you've seen, which I highly recommend or else you want to understand what I'm talking about, you'd know I spent a lot of time trashing the community of the game, as well as talking about the learning curve that can be pretty intense for new players. However, in this video, I want to give Ubisoft some credit where credit is due on certain things in my video that have been updated upon, obviously because they saw my video with 160 views and not because these were problems plaguing the game for a long time. In addition, I want to talk about something that's been a pet peeve of mine in this community in the lead up to Operation Shadow Legacy, which was released the morning I started making this. I expect this to be a pretty short video, but I have a few planned and fairly far along that should be out soon enough, so stay tuned for actual content. That being said, let's get into it. So first off, I have to talk about the best thing that became news over the last few days. The day before I started making this, and this is in fact the main reason I even started making this video, Ubisoft started banning people for DDoSing on any platform. If you saw my first video, you'd remember how much I was against people DDoSing in the game, and I wasn't sure if there was a way for them to find out who was doing it, but apparently there was. Now people are being punished for it. People were also compensated for their MMR if they either lost because they went against someone that was DDoSing, or they gained because someone on their team was doing it. Obviously, there were some people unhappy because they deranked because of the MMR loss, but I think it's only fair that players on either team lose or gain MMR, because otherwise someone in a friend group could play on an alternate account and purposefully tank the games, where that account gets banned but their friends easily get MMR. So it might seem frustrating if you solo queued your way into a game on the team of a DDoSer, but unfortunately it's only fair that you lose the MMR you gain, since you did have a cheater on your team. The second thing I want to mention is the removal of Vote to Kick. In the release notes they mentioned that Vote to Kick wouldn't be removed at the launch of the new season, but that it will come along later. But Vote to Kick has been especially rude to me in the last few days. I understand the delay of the feature. While I've never seen it used that way, Vote to Kick was made to remove toxic people from your games, whether they're team killing or spamming chat with harassment. Taking away that option essentially means that you're stuck with those people for an entire game unless one of you leaves. So while Vote to Kick's removal is still a little annoying, it's understandable because Ubisoft needs to find some way to still deal with toxic people without allowing it to backfire on innocent people. The first thing I can think of is paying more attention to reports, which means players need to report more as well, which I think is something they're working on as well, seeing as in the same release notes they mentioned you knowing that someone you reported was banned in-game instead of through an email. However, just making a promise doesn't ensure that they'll still follow through, and a major complaint from console players is that the reports aren't noticed as the ones as PC. So hopefully this is something they'll change to help combat toxic players. The other idea I have is that in casual matches only, as soon as someone's team killed, friendly fire activates for the entire team. This means that in actual accidents on teammates who want retaliation, they won't get it and you won't get killed by different teammates in the same game. Of course, the system currently in place should stay in ranked and unranked, since someone throwing screws the entire team over at the very beginning. The biggest drawback to my proposed idea is that someone could be toxic in the first round and not have to face retaliation for the rest of the game. It's just that unfortunately we might never get a perfect system to deal with player toxicity, but I think taking Vote to Kick away from the game is a good start, since now innocent people won't be affected by something meant to deal with toxic players. So I don't think anyone should particularly be mad at Ubisoft or upset with their efforts, since it's likely we'll never see a system that aims to get rid of toxicity without still being exploitable in some way, shape, or form. The last thing I want to touch on is the communication that you see in this game from Ubisoft. As I mentioned earlier, Operation Shadow Legacy came out the day I started making this, and it came as a surprise to many. In fact, a tweet from the official Siege Twitter account had people in the comments debating on if the downtime mentioned in the tweet was for Shadow Legacy or something else entirely. In addition to that, never getting a release date, even a flexible one, makes the entire community constantly wonder when it's happening, and then you have to deal with people online being annoying under every Siege tweet asking when the next update releases. Giving a bridge between players and the devs help people learn the mindset of what's going on with the future of the game, whether it be fixing bugs or future content. Something I'd like to see would be similar to the community roadmaps from Star Wars Battlefront 2. About halfway through the game's lifecycle, DICE gave players breakdowns of certain events going on each month, whether it be special game modes, update releases, community transmissions, which would let the players know the details of what was happening in updates, and things like double experience. Imagine if at the start of each month, Ubisoft let players know what was going on in that month, whether it be a free weekend, the mid-season patch, or anything similar to that. That doesn't mean we won't necessarily get surprise updates, but those generally aren't going to have content and will still be bug fixes that couldn't be announced at the start of the month. For example, they likely didn't know the chat bug on console, so they wouldn't announce a fix to that when giving a view of September 2020. I get that doing this takes resources, but if Ubisoft doesn't want to go out and hire someone to do the job, they can take the route Hi-Res Studios is used for Smite and have content creators talking about these things in the videos that they themselves produce, but are uploaded to the official social media accounts of the game. I find it hard to believe that creators wouldn't take the chance to do an official video for the game, and seeing on how content creators have been sponsored by Ubisoft or have interacted with them publicly in the past, they could take their pick of these people. All in all, Operation Shadow Legacy has been a pretty good season, and the game is just as fun as it's been since I started playing, although I'm not a fan of the current casual map pool, but that's a personal thing. I appreciate the changes Ubisoft has made to the game to help make it more bearable to get into, and while there are a lot of problems, mostly bugs still going on, I still understand they can't fix everything at once and just need to keep patient. Although they really need to fix that chat bug on console, as well as the audio bug. But that's going to do it for this one. I know it was a lot shorter than everything else, but this was just supposed to be a quick follow-up to my first video based on things I saw from the build-up to this current season. I have bigger things in the making, so keep tuned by subscribing as well as following me on Instagram and Twitch at MaroJohn03. I don't necessarily have any schedules, but I'll keep you guys updated when these projects go live. If you liked what I had to say, don't be afraid to give this video a like and drop a comment letting you know how you feel about the season and the idea of giving the community a bridge to the devs. That's pretty much it, so thank you guys so much for sticking out to the end, and have yourselves a damn good one.